The bedroom door wasn't supposed to be locked. In 8 years of marriage, I could count on one hand the number of times we'd ever locked it. Once, it was to keep our overly curious dog from barging in on our anniversary morning. Another time, when Sarah's sister had dropped by unannounced, we'd wanted a brief moment of privacy. But this time was different. The sharp click of the lock from the other side wasn't just a minor inconvenience. It felt like a thunderclap inside my chest. It wasn't simply locking me out of the room. It was locking me out of the life I thought I had. Then came the laughter. Muffled, but unmistakable. Hers, light, musical, the same way she used to laugh at my stupid jokes, pretending they were funnier than they were. And then his voice. Deep, confident, and unfamiliar. A stranger's voice. I didn't think. I acted. My shoulders slammed into the door, the impact rattling the frame. The lock splintered with a sickening crack, and the door flew open, banging hard against the wall. There they were, Sarah and him, tangled together in our sheets. My sheets. The sanctuary where we once whispered dreams and promises was now desecrated by a stranger's hands. "James," she gasped, scrambling to pull the sheet over herself. But it was far too late. There was no hiding this. Chapter 2: The Stranger. He was younger than me, maybe by 5 or 6 years, and it showed. Bronze skin, defined muscles, and that infuriating, self-satisfied swagger of someone who thought the world belonged to him. For a moment, none of us moved. He froze mid-motion, like a deer caught in headlights. Sarah trembled, her face pale. And me? I was a storm, rage and disbelief crashing inside me. "Who the hell are you?" I growled, my voice low but quivering with fury. The man opened his mouth, but no words came out. Instead, he scrambled to grab his pants from the floor, as though covering himself could undo what I had just seen. "Answer me," I barked, stepping forward. He flinched, fumbling with his jeans. "James, stop," Sarah's voice cracked, but I didn't look at her. I couldn't. If I did, I might completely lose control. "You don't get to speak," I spat, glaring at her. "Not right now." The stranger finally found his voice. "Look, man, I didn't know." "Didn't know what?" I cut in, stepping closer. "Didn't know she was married? Didn't know this was my house? Didn't know you were in my bed?" His silence said it all. He knew. He just didn't care. Chapter 3: The Calm. I wanted to hit him. God, I wanted to. My fists were balled, so tightly that my knuckles ached. But I wouldn't give him the satisfaction of watching me lose control. "Get out," I said, my voice like ice. He hesitated, glancing at Sarah, who sat there with tears streaming down her face. I said, "Get out." I roared. That was enough. He grabbed the rest of his clothes and bolted, nearly tripping over himself in his rush to leave. The front door slammed, the sound echoing through the house. The room was silent except for Sarah's quiet sobs. When I finally turned to look at her, I didn't see my wife. I saw a stranger. "James," she began. "Don't," I said sharply, holding up a hand. "Just don't." She clutched the sheet tighter. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. A laugh escaped me, cold, bitter, and foreign even to my own ears. "Didn't mean anything? You brought another man into our bed, Sarah. You expect me to believe that?" She reached toward me, but I stepped back, the space between us now an uncrossable gulf. "I don't want to hear it right now," I said. "I can't." I turned and walked out, leaving the door hanging limply on its broken hinges, a perfect reflection of what she had just done to our marriage. Chapter 4: The Plan. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them. Her hands on him, his smug laughter, their betrayal echoing in my head. By morning, the initial shock had cooled into something sharper, colder. I wouldn't let this destroy me. I'd destroy them. Sarah moved around me cautiously that morning, eyes red from crying, as if expecting that with time I'd forgive her. She couldn't have been more wrong. I started with the finances. I'd always handled our money, and Sarah had never been interested enough to know the details. She had no idea about the separate account I'd been quietly building for years. By the end of the day, I had transferred every cent of our joint savings into it. Next came the divorce papers. I gathered everything, photos, screenshots, even security footage from the front door camera showing Tyler entering the house. My lawyer took one look and assured me it was an open and shut case. Adultery was hard to defend, especially with this much evidence. But I wasn't done yet. Chapter 5: Tyler's Downfall. Finding Tyler's workplace took minutes. A quick social media search led me to his gym. He was a personal trainer, of course. His feed was full of flexing photos, motivational quotes, and half-naked selfies. I compiled it all, the images of him leaving my home, the messages between him and Sarah, and sent them to his boss. The fallout was immediate. Within days, Tyler was fired. His professional reputation was shredded. Clients dropped him one after another. But I wanted more. So I sent the same evidence to his girlfriend. Her reaction was nuclear. She dumped him and plastered his cheating across every social media platform she could find. By the end of the week, Tyler had gone from cocky gym star to social outcast. Chapter 6: Sarah's Reckoning. Sarah never saw it coming. She mistook my silence for hesitation, as if I was considering taking her back. The divorce papers hit her like a freight train. She cried, begged, swore she'd change, promised to make it up to me.
But there was no coming back from this.
"You didn't just cheat, Sarah," I told her one day. "You laughed at me in our bedroom. You mocked everything we built. When it was over, she had nothing. The house was mine, always had been, an inheritance from my parents. The savings were gone, tied up in accounts she couldn't touch. Even her friends began to distance themselves once they knew the truth." Chapter 7: Rebuilding. For months, I focused on piecing myself back together. Therapy helped. So did reconnecting with friends and finding hobbies I'd abandoned years ago. Revenge had been satisfying, yes, but it wasn't the ending. It was the beginning of a new life. Sarah and Tyler became nothing more than cautionary tales, a reminder of what happens when you betray someone who gave you everything. Chapter 8: The Aftershock. The house was quieter than ever after Sarah left. She'd taken only what she could carry, leaving behind the skeleton of our shared life. Every room was a landmine of memories. But instead of drowning in them, I took the house back, painted over colors she'd chosen, replaced our photos with art that spoke to me, bought new bedding, even a new mattress. Each change was a small victory. Chapter 9: Tyler's Spiral. Ruining Tyler's career was easy. Watching his world unravel was better. His gym wasn't just his job, it was his identity. Once the scandal broke, clients abandoned him, competitors mocked him, and his confident posts vanished from social media. Friends stopped tagging him in photos. Then his ex-girlfriend messaged me. She thanked me, not for destroying him, but for showing her who he really was. He'd been lying to her for years, making her think she was the problem. Knowing I'd freed someone else from him felt like real closure. Chapter 10: Sarah's Desperation. Sarah's calls came daily at first, tearful voicemails swinging between apologies and accusations. "You're punishing me too much," she cried in one. "We both made mistakes. Don't you think I've suffered enough?" She had no idea what suffering was. The last straw came when she showed up at my door, looking worn down and broken. "I was lonely," she blurted. "You were always at work. And that justifies this?" I cut in. "If you were unhappy, you could have talked to me. You could have left. But you brought him into my home and laughed at me in my bed." I shut the door in her face. That was the final nail in the coffin. Chapter 11: The Turning Point. Revenge had run its course. The house was mine. My life was my own, but I still felt empty. Therapy forced me to dig deeper, past the infidelity, into the insecurities I'd buried long before Sarah. Week by week, I replaced anger with something stronger: self-respect. Chapter 12: Building a New Life. The anger faded into indifference. I stopped checking on them. They were no longer part of my story. I poured my energy into renovating my home, reviving old passions, and reconnecting with friends who reminded me of who I was before Sarah. Chapter 13: The Closure. I ran into Sarah at a coffee shop. She looked older, worn down. "I'm sorry," she said. "I've lost everything because of my choices."
I don't blame you.
For the first time, her words felt genuine. But they didn't change anything. "I've moved on," I told her. As she walked away, I felt a weight lift. For the first time since that day, I was free. Chapter 14. Moving forward. Life didn't go back to normal, it became better. The betrayal that once consumed me was now just a scar, proof that I'd survived the worst and come out stronger. The best revenge wasn't destroying Sarah and Tyler, it was building a life worth living.